guys, Possible here. The other day I watched the, I guess you'd call it a movie? I don't know, for me, it felt like I was watching a commercial for sleeping pills or jet lag. I'll be honest with you, I walked into this film thinking, okay, this is going to be a piece of shit. I can feel it in my bones. I hate it. I don't like what they've done. I don't like what the marketing has been happening surrounding this film. I'm tired of hearing it, but to be fair, I should at least see it. It's no reason just avoiding it. It's not worth it. If I don't see it, at least I can say, well, I see it and I hate the fucking thing. So I walked in there, sat down, overpriced VMAX theater, looking around seeing about a total of 9 people, and thinking, right. So much for all that box office numbers they're wanking on about. I sat there and anticipated everything, and lo and behold, it was amazing. It was funny. I laughed, I cried, and then the movie started. Shit, I actually was watching a fucking trailer of The Secret Life of Pets, and I found that more funny than this fucking movie. It did start out okay. The trouble is, it started off strong enough, but as soon as you got the actual characters together, they just didn't gel. It was more like a couple of comedians trying to one-up each other with all their jokes. But some of the jokes were only mildly funny at times. Some maybe gave me a smirk, but some just outright, what? Really? And if there's anything that can be said about Paul Frigg now, if I'm pronouncing that name correctly, I do apologize if I haven't pronounced it right, but he really fucking hates, just from way he's portrayed Chris Hemsworth's character. Wow. I mean, I understand the joke is that he's stupid on a whole different level, but I can tell he really fucking hates jock type sort of heterosexual males, just based on that way it was portrayed in the film. I don't know what to say to it. It's just awful, just how petty that was. I don't really care that much, but it just comes across as petty rather than funny. As you get on, you start to see what's really going on here. And then there's some really petty marks, just because of what the reaction to the trailer, all the internet trolls and the nonsense. He's got like a couple scenes just referencing it, making fun. Oh, don't listen to what fucking hell, man. Have a thicker skin, man. You're in the movie industry. What the fuck are you trying to do? What are you doing in this industry if you can't take it? That's the reality. People are going to give you shit no matter what. I don't think you deserve it. I don't think the movie is the most horrible thing I've ever seen in life, but it was just so fucking boring. There was nothing, the jokes didn't gel, and lo and behold, I actually fell fucking asleep in it. I fell asleep just around about the point, I don't know, maybe roughly 10 minutes around the second act, just as the antagonist dies. I fell asleep, woke up seeing the guy electrocute himself just briefly, and then, alright, Lord, that's it. And then he turns into a ghost, goes off and possesses Chris Hemsworth's bloody character, and no, I can't even, oh, that's right, it's Kevin. See, that's the thing, it doesn't leave enough of an impact in my mind to even say, why should I care? The characters just didn't have any development. So, not only did I didn't care about the characters, I didn't find it funny, and when it's a comedy, that's a death knell. It's a nail in the coffin for it. If it was just some bloody drama, it would be okay, but it's not the case here. So what are you really expecting? So there's been a lot of controversy around the film, and I can understand to some extent what some may be defending it for, but let's be honest here. I've heard some stories, and if you ever heard anything about the Sony leaks, you'll know that they're just marketing some fun bullshit narratives to make it up for it. They've been trying to build a franchise based on this reboot, and I don't see it happening. I really don't. I don't like the idea of him bringing in some bullshit alien ghosts. That's basically what was behind that weird dragon. I know some people don't understand it, but basically what he was trying to do, based on what I've learned from a few different videos, I think it was, I can't remember the name of the channel, but apparently he was trying to establish there are aliens out there, and they also die too, and therefore so that's where that comes from. Not that we've explained very well, it's just there. I'm hoping maybe in the sequel they'll explain it, but I don't want to see a sequel, I don't care. It's crap. What happened, along with, I think they were planning to have like another Ghostbusters team in another universe and have combinations and like crossing the boundaries, and that was the idea behind it. And thankfully, though, there was a scene that we're supposed to have a bloody bullshit dance number just to mock the authorities. What? It was only brief, and it was sort of like just thrown in there just briefly to show, oh, he controlling them, you know, weird sort of dance number that reminiscent of Thriller or something. And what, really? No, please no. And at the end of the day, it just didn't strike me as something that was worth seeing, and it's never going to hold up to the originals, that nothing will. But this particular effort, it just doesn't make sense to me. Now, on the subject of the choices that they made, in terms of, like, say, making all the characters female, and I don't really care about that, but here's the thing, on itself, it's cheap. It's just fucking cheap to flip the genders. It's just cheap. It's a marketing tactic. I don't like it. I think what needs to happen, and what really needs to happen, is it has to be good. I remember there was a circumstance where I actually didn't mind the gender flip with one character. Have you ever seen the American version of Sherlock, the TV series, Elementary? They changed the gender of James Moriarty and then changed the name Jamie Moriarty, and combined the characters Irene Adler together, and created not only just an antagonist and the arch nemesis to Sherlock, they created a bit of a love dynamic between the two characters. And it's created some interesting conflict, and the actress herself is amazing. There's an instance where, some way, even, say, gender flipping a character that's already been previously established in other franchises, novels, whatever, can be successful. Here, on the other hand, it just comes across as cheap, and a means to try and make some money by attracting, like, the Tumblr audience. Really? Or the social justice warrior audience, if you want to call them that. Let's be honest, Tumblr is a big fucking effort, a big platform to these kinds of wankers, and it just doesn't make sense to me. It really doesn't. How they've treated the franchise. And to make the point even clearer, they've even just flipped the gender of the secretary. It's just really, no. Please don't. You know, you gotta put more effort into it. There's nothing wrong with having women in these roles, but it has to be good. It has to mean something, and it has to be, I suppose, loving to for what was my childhood. Now, there's been a lot of nonsense going on Twitter lately, and I don't think Leslie Jones deserves that kind of nonsense. I think from what I've seen, that none of the actresses were bad in terms of their acting. I just think that their characters were bland, and their comedy just didn't work most of the time. There was a few things that at least got me laughing, here and there, so it wasn't a complete clusterfuck of boringness. But it was so little. It was like about 5 minutes compared to the rest of it. I just didn't feel like... I thought the movie was going on a bit too long, to be honest. I thought it needed to end earlier. And not only that, every guy in this... Not just Kevin, Chris Hemsworth's a freaking character. Every guy is an asshole, or stupid, or a combination of the two. Look, not only is that blatantly sexist, not that it really matters, come on, fuck it, it's supposed to be humour, but when you're portraying all women as clear-headed, level-headed, humorous enough, knows what's going on, and then portray all the men in there as assholes and morons and idiots, it's petty. And it says a lot about what the script, it says a lot about who had a hand in writing that. And from what I hear, it certainly just based on what I've seen in the film, there's a lot of pettiness about this film. I suppose that it has a lot to do with what happened in response to the trailers. But it was inevitable. The internet was right. It was going to be bad. And lo and behold, it was bad. It wasn't bad in the sense that, oh my god, it's an insult to everything that it stands for. It's just the CGI was unnecessary. You could have done a lot better and much more scarier things with, say, more practical effects, like in the 1984 film. And they still hold up. Even to this day, it's still better than what I've seen. But at least in the first act, the very initial opening, there was some actual scariness to it. I actually did, wow, look at that. It really had my going, maybe this will not be terrible as people make it out to be. And honestly, no, I actually felt it was worse than what a lot of reviewers have been saying. I think it was worse than that. I think it was, to be honest, if it's a comedy and the comedy falls flat, that's it. Done. If it doesn't work, it just doesn't work. A drama can get by, but when it's a comedy, it's got, you just can't. I'm sorry, this got me angry about it. Just looking at it and what they've done, they're just trying to be cheap to make a franchise to make some money. They've been having a lot of trouble with films lately, Sony Entertainment, and to do this to a franchise, really, why can't you be creative and do it intelligently and respectfully? That's, I think, what the consumers want. People aren't dumb, and they're not buying this bullshit misogynistic crap. We're over it, man. Gamergate happened and left, and people woke up and are open to this and just don't care anymore and don't want to hear this shit. Put effort into what you make. Do something with it. I don't mind if you remake it, but do it well, respectfully. People love this friggin' franchise, and you treat it as if it's just something to bloody to build some bullshit half-assed, cheap-ass knockoff. That's not fair to the people that love the originals. I'm sorry. It's just, if I was to give this a rating, I'll give it a 2 out of 10. I admit it, I walked in there going to hate it. Initially, I started to think maybe they were turning it around. They weren't going to be as horrible as they were going. People were making it out to be, but unfortunately, that's not what happened. Instead, it got worse, and when I left the theater, I thought, but here's the problem. Generally, better films don't make me think worse of them the more I think about them. I shouldn't really have to think about it. I should just be amazed by it. And I do believe there's something wrong with Rotten Tomatoes. The rating, I do not believe this is a 73% fresh. Bullshit. I call bullshit on that. This is not a fucking... It's not a 73. Bullshit. It's just not funny. I could think about anything. The trailer to The Secret Life of Pets was fucking funnier and more emotionally driven than this fucking film. Anyway, that's all I have to say. I'll see you on the next one, guys.